he's got the link, he can join the call. So hopefully we are live. Can you hear the caller? Hopefully you can. I am going to pimp this link out now, and hopefully we should see if or not you can hear the caller.
Yeah, I can hear you.
And that is a wonderful thing, because I know how the internet has been deprived of listening to the caller. Absolutely. So I think what we could do is invite HG back in the room, and we can crack on with this absolute shambles of a live broadcast. But hey, you live and learn, don't you? And that's and that's what's important. So Aviva, let's start from the top. We've signed a couple of players. One of them apparently is pretty good. The other one we haven't really heard much about. What do you make of our signings? What do you think of Bale rejoining Spurs? What do you have an earliest memory of the main man?
The Stoke goal.
Yeah.
The Stoke goal and him doing this all the time.
Describe the Stoke goal, because he scored quite a lot and I can't really remember.
Everyone scores quite a lot against Stoke. It was, I think it was on the volley, and he hit it with his right foot. Very, I think Son scored a very similar goal, like a few seasons ago. But yeah, I just love seeing goals like that, because that just shows that he has tenacity and he has, the chutzpah, as I would say, to take shots like that. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to summon HG because he's being a bit resilient. Come on, HG, come back in. Just join the meeting. You should pop up in your little box and you can tell us all your great statistics and facts. So the other guy, Reguilon, what do we make of him? So I've heard he's a flying Spanish fullback who won fullback of the year, played in the Europa League final last year for Sevilla, so that's a bonus as well. What do you hear?
I hear he scored 2 goals and 4 assists. He's got way better possession than most of our fullbacks. He has better passing accuracy. He likes to go forward. So I'm excited to see what the new number 3 does. Shout out to Danny Rose.
Excellent. And just like that, as if by magic, we have been joined by the Harlow Globetrotter from his living room turned art gallery in Vienna. Hello, HG. HG, I can't hear you.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Say something. He hasn't said anything yet.
Hi guys.
There he is. Yes, I can hear you. Wicked. I'm doing all the better now. We're actually back online. We're up and running. It turns out a threesome is very hard to organise in whatever context you like. So we are back. We are live, and we're raring to go. So we've just chatted about Reguilon, HG. What's your take on him? Going to be a good signing for us? Where does he fit in? And is he the best thing since Danny Rose was actually not a whining little shit?
We don't need to talk about Danny Rose because everyone knows that I quite like him. So you're really on, he's an attacking left back. I mean, that's the modern fullback, right? That's what we want to see. We want to see overlapping. We want to see players commit to go forward to try and score goals. And although he doesn't score that many, he's obviously been part of a Sevilla team that's been successful. He played 20 odd games for Real Madrid the season before. He's not bad by any means. So, we don't know how he's going to be in the Premier League, but I think we should be pretty hopeful.
And why do you think it is that he only got 20 games last season for Real Madrid, season before this, the one just gone? So why do you think that was? Is he not good enough for Real Madrid's first team? What's wrong with him?
I suspect that at the time it was either he or Marcelo, and Marcelo's been first choice for what seems a decade now. So I think if Marcelo was injured, then he would have come in. I know they signed the French defender Mendy at the start of last season, so he probably took his place, and so he had to go out on loan. But I don't think it wasn't necessarily that he's not good enough for Real Madrid, but obviously that Zidane didn't particularly rate him enough.
Yeah,
Zidane was his manager at Castilla, the reserve team for Real Madrid as well, and sent him out on loan a couple of times. So maybe it just wasn't a face that fits Zidane's idea of football. But if you base it on last year at Sevilla, we're getting a quality player, absolutely.
Yeah, Oh, and what do you think? Really, Aviva, do you think he's gonna? What do you think he's gonna bring to the team? What is this going to be like? We're going to switch to 5 at the back, do you think, or flying fullbacks at 4-4-2? Where does it all fit together? Because it is a complex picture now. We have got a lot of players, a lot of choice for the first time since I can remember.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different formations. I've seen like 5 at the back with Davies playing as one of the center backs, with Toby and either Dyer or Sanchez, and then Doherty and Regulon on the wing backs. I've seen him just playing as a straight up left back. I think the fact that we have different options is good because it means that Jose has options. And I think what he brings is a Spanish style football, because I'm trying to think, can we think of the last time we bought a defender from the Spanish leagues? I can't think of one.
No.
Off the top of my head. Can you think of one?
No. I struggle to remember Spanish footballers. Soldado is Spanish. Who else have we had?
I mean, he wasn't exactly a roaring success, was he? Let's face it.
No, but I think like there's a reason why a lot of big teams buy players from La Liga. I mean, you look at Man City. They had got what's his name? They had a lot. They got Torres. They got other players from La Liga. So they seem to do that a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can offer.
Well, I think he's got to be an improvement on Ben Davies not flying down the left, hasn't he?
It's not his fault. It's just not his style.
No, I agree completely, and I think he's going to be quite key. I found it interesting actually that there was talk of Ben Davies settling Gareth into the back into the squad, because obviously they're on in the Welsh team together and on sort of texting terms, which I didn't really have down him as useful for anything really. Davies, I suppose he's got a left foot. That's why Jose likes him. But he's sort of very one-dimensional when it comes to Spurs.
I think it would be really nice to see Davies play as centre back in a 3.
Well, this is where I'm going with this long meandering segue. Do we see Toby and Sanchez or Dyer plus Davies on the left of that 3, and then Reguilon on the left, and then you've got Doherty on the right? What do you think of that defence? I mean, that's got to be pretty decent, surely.
I say try it out in a cup game and see how it goes. I wouldn't do it straight into a league game. I'd try it out first and see how it goes. But yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting because I don't think any of them will play until the Europa League game in North Macedonia next week. I suspect that the Leyton Orient game will be a chance for Sirkin. Reguilon might be fit. I know Bale is apparently out for a few weeks anyway, but yeah, I think for obviously the Southampton game it's too late, but for Orient I think we'll stick with what we've had before today, let's say, and then so maybe we might see something going forward slightly different. But I don't see Mourinho as being the type of manager to play 3 at the back all the time, right? I mean, we've seen him do the whole 3 when attacking, 4 when defending. Is he going to switch to 3 all the time with wing backs trying to provide the width? We've got the players to do it. I mean, it could work, but I don't know. We all know that Mourinho likes to change things around in certain games for certain opponents, but will he be comfortable playing a system that I don't think he's ever really played before?
Yeah, well, potentially not. I mean, the forward line looks pretty immense now, doesn't it? I mean, we've gone from, I think, having pretty limited options at sort of midway point of last year. Obviously, we added Bergwijn, but didn't really feel the full benefit of that because we just had player after player after player after player injured. Where do we start with that forward 3? Surely it's got to be Sonny, Bale, and Kane as your first choice, isn't it? Is it not, Aviva?
I mean, ideally once Bale is fit, yes. And I think the benefit again with Son that he can play on either wing benefits us, because then it doesn't matter if Bale's injured because he could switch over there. But I just want to bring everyone back to the fact that now Bale and Eric Lamela are now in the same team, and Bale was as Kane's replacement.
How do we cope with that attacking talent?
I want to think about the irony of that. And would we have thought that A, we'd have Bale back, and B, that we would have at least one of that rat pack of players that came in when he left. The fact that any of them are still there, Lamella even, is just... So if I ever see Lamella and Bale play together in that front three, I will laugh my ass off.
You might.
Because that was never the plan.
He could teach him a thing or two.
It still should never be the plan, let's be honest.
It should never be the reality, is what it should.
Like the only way Lamella and Bale play together is because Bale's coming on to save it after Miller spent 70 minutes getting booked. It's just injured. No. It's
Bergwijn, Son, and Moore are injured.
Yeah, Lamella is still with us because no one else wants him. I mean, let's be fair.
No. That is that.
Brighton. There's a rumor that Brighton is willing to do 19 for.
But sorry, there's a rumor. What, Aviva?
That Brighton are offering 19 for him.
19 what? Hazelnuts? It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, million hazelnuts.
I mean, he is worth.
If that was the case, I'd say take it and run.
No, 19 million pennies would be too much for Lamella.
Well, they're offering 19 million pounds, so...
Yeah, well, I can't believe they would be that stupid. I mean, it would be great for Spurs.
What are you talking about, stupid? He's a good player.
They got Lallana, so clearly they don't care.
Yeah, quite. They've already got one player who likes to get injured. Let's get another. It doesn't make any sense. Like, Lamella's shown nothing in his career. Like, Lallana...
That's why Brighton are offering money for him.
No, but he's not good enough for Brighton. He wouldn't play in Brighton's first team. He just wouldn't.
I mean, I need to drink some more gin, to be honest. I'm getting low. I'm going over for a top-up to the bar in a minute. I'll let you two fight it out.
I just want to see that if someone, regardless of what the club was, if any club offered 90 million for Lamella, you wouldn't take it and run.
Yeah, of course you would. I'd take 9 million and run. 19 million, Christmas has come early.
His market value is above 19 million pounds, HG. You're being very, very... You're letting your hatred govern you.
His market...
Wait.
Hang on a second. The market you're talking about is Aviva saying one number that neither of us have heard of before. That's his market. They're not knocking down doors to get to him, which they should be, because clearly we've got like 6 or 7 attacking midfielders. You'd think everyone would be going, oh, we could get a bargain here, because he'll want to leave. He'll want to go and play games somewhere else. We've seen with Lamella, he never wants to leave. He's got 100k a week to play for Spurs and sit on his arse either in a hospital or on a bench. Perfect. Why would you give that up? It's basically the Tottenham equivalent of Gareth Bale playing golf for a year.
I think the bit that I like most in the documentary was where he says, I feel like I've got an injury. 30 seconds was your rant on Lamella just now, but I let it slide as the host, HG.
I don't want to hurt it, and then it gets worse.
He comes in from training, and it's like Tom Hardy's doing his best. Gareth Bale has got a injury worry. Well, not Gareth Bale. Eric Lamella has got an injury worry. Yeah, they couldn't get the two mixed up apart from the fact they wear both 11. He comes in and he starts pointing to his thigh, and it was his groin that was injured, wasn't it?
It was like he had a groin strain. But I just checked his market value.
Come on, Aviva, hit me. I think it's 25 million.
His transfer market has his value right now at 17.6.
Ooh,
hazelnuts. It's got to be.
His highest was when we bought him at 33.
Yeah, and he wasn't worth that then. That's the point, right? Like, just because we wanted him, just because Baldini was doing his old club a favour and wanted to give him a whole bunch of money, which, let's be fair, that's what he was doing.
Well, what's 30 million with today's inflation, do you reckon?
Yeah, do I want to know? Probably not.
45 easily.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, look, I'm happy for him to go, but I can't believe anyone, not even West Ham, would be that dumb to pay that much money for Lamella, considering he's probably not going to play for Spurs that often now with the options that we've got, unless we sell other people. Yeah. Where is he?
He should go to MLS, actually. Honestly, if I'm being honest, he should just go to the MLS. Go to David Beckham's team or something, or
play with Higuain,
or come to my team, New England Revolution, where Clint Dempsey started his career.
Who?
But yeah.
These are better solutions. That is more his level. So, yeah, please, MLS, if you're listening, one of your teams, just put him there for a bit.
Okay. So I'm hearing. We've got a question. Well, not a question. Gary B, thanks for watching.
Question on.
He's posted his I think Dream Spurs 11 New Look 11. I'll tell you guys what it is, and then you can comment on this. Larice, Dyer, Kim, Sergio, Doherty, Højbjerg, Endembele, Lo Celso, Son, Kane, Bale. 4-2-1-3. Sorry, 4-1-2-3.
4-1-2-3.
If you're going to have a defender that we haven't signed yet, I mean, can we put Messi in there too?
Oh, and he follows on to that. Sell Aurier, Foyth, Lamella maybe. You might get 40 to 50 million quid for them three.
Yeah, we might get that much money. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I do think that another central defender is probably where we are next, because no one really wants Dyer to play every game, and we need a left-sided player. So if it's not Davies, then you're going to want a left-footed centre back. I think that's probably where we're struggling.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we've got lots of options going forward. I mean, Dele won't play every game now. Lo Celso won't play. If Dombele starts putting performances together, which it looks like he might, we're going to have plenty of options in midfield and attack. The question is, can we get the balance right at the back? And so if we get a left-footed centre half, I think that's probably the one thing we're missing now.
No, we're missing another thing you didn't mention. We're missing another creative attacking midfielder. Because if Lo Celso's injured, like we saw last week, who's going to be our playmaker?
Eriksen's going to come back.
I think it all depends on the formation you choose. I mean, not every team has that number 10. You can play with wingers and just... Because that's the thing, like, if we're going to play wide men, if you play Lucas on one side or Son on the other, or even Sessegnon as a left winger, like, it's all about what you want to do. If you're going to try and play through the middle, you're right, we might need another passer. But I do think we've got enough attacking players. I mean, this sounds stupid, like, when we had to play against Plovdiv, we created chance after chance after chance in those last 20 minutes. Now, granted, it was against 9 men, but still, we threw men forward. Like Ben Davies was the guy, I think, who had the header off the line that was handled away. But once we started, we got moving. We just need to maybe play with a bit more freedom and throw men forward and see if that brings us some joy. Yeah. So look, I see what you're saying, Aviva. I mean, I just think that for the balance of the team, I think we're missing probably a left-footed centre half more than anything right now.
No, I agree, because I think that's the one thing that's making us not a complete team. Because if we have Lo Celso, then you can argue he's the creative force, the number 9, then we have a full team. I just worry sometimes that if we always play with our wide players and then we get into positions where it's better to play to the middle, then we have no options to make that happen.
Right,
and I don't want
that's fair. That's a fair point.
And I don't want teams to be able to know how we're going to play every single week, because that happened with Poch. They knew exactly what, like Poch's last few months, they knew exactly what we were doing.
Well, the problem with the end of Poch's era was we lost all the pace down the flanks, and hopefully what we're seeing now is a restoration of that. I've not seen Reguilon run. He might be like me, pretty quick off the blocks, but not that quick over 50 yards. I suppose if you added it all up, and I think the reality is we might be seeing some of that pace come into the fullbacks, and that just gives us such a different outlet. So Gary, I agree with what you're saying in terms of getting the fullbacks bombing on, because I think we need that dimension to our play. And if you look at Liverpool and Manchester City, the most two recent title-winning sides have had pace in abundance down the flanks. So I think we need some of that. Phil Ambrose is coming back on the text at UHG, saying, to be fair, he was quality at Roma the season before we bought him. I think he did score about 20 goals.
Him, that's the problem.
Well, it's another Levy sign, and unfortunately, when people sign for Spurs, we haven't got a very good record, have we? Let's face it.
I worry about Doherty, because in FPL terms, Doherty last few seasons has been amazing, and everyone signs because he's always going to give point returns. But if he's not passing to anyone who's then going to score, he's not going to be useful. So I really hope he doesn't lose the reasons we bought him, because of the people who are around him. He and Jimenez were such a great pair at Wolves.
And that has been broken up, hasn't it? So we'll see how Wolves get on this season. Dave Bolton on Facebook says, anyone else feeling slightly sorry for the other fella that flew over from Spain this week? Shout out to you, Dave. I mean, he's got his name slightly wrong, Serpico Pokemon or something like that. Like the caller, I don't watch other leagues that much. I'm sure he's a reasonable player. Well, I think being honest, the only person out of the three of us that's really seen him is you, isn't it, HG?
I've watched Sevilla play a few games in the Europa League, so yeah, I've seen him play. He's a quality attacking fullback. That's what we want to see. We want to see players. I mean, it's all about intelligence to me at this level. You can get players that are fast, you can get players that are strong, but you need to know what to do with the ball when you've got it. That's what really separates the best players, and I think Reguilon has shown that. He's comfortable on the ball. He's not scared of making decisions, and I think he admits himself that he may not be the best defender in one-on-one situations, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm confident that he'll be certainly better than Davies was in that role. So it's an improvement for sure.
Okay.
Just gotta say, and I know this is not what we usually talk about, but the other signing that was made this week is also a statement by the club, and I think we just need to touch on it briefly. That Alex Morgan has come to Spurs women.
No, it's a good point. I'm not. I wouldn't laugh that down at all. I think go for it.
Rose Lavelle and Sam Mewis. Mewis is from Massachusetts. Both went to Man City, and then Kristen Press and Tobin Heath went to Man United. And when I saw them, I was like, oh, I wish I had one of the national team players. And then it happened, and you know what? We lucked out because out of those other four, Morgan is just like you said. When you have the ball at your feet, you need to know what to do with it. She knows exactly what to do with it, even if she's not playing for the men's team, which she should be doing. The fact that we're doing that.
Well, your men's team are hopeless, Aviva, in the States.
No, but I'm saying Spurs women just came up to the women's first division last season, and I think the fact that we're able to get her even on a half a year loan is a huge thing because she's a massive icon in women's soccer.
Well, certainly women's soccer in the States is a lot bigger than it is in the UK, isn't it? And I think she's how many followers on Instagram? How many followers on Instagram has she got?
She's not that far off from the Spurs
official
account.
Yeah. Well, so from a marketing perspective, it's absolute genius.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
It's a statement.
It's like signing a global superstar, isn't it? And I tell you, I think what's interesting. So I wrote a piece, maybe a week and a half ago on the transfer window. I know you've read it, HG. And I was saying Daniel Levy is operating in a different way because of the way Jose is managing Daniel Levy. Was the purpose of what I was trying to put across to that. And there was a little bit of negative naysaying from the Daniel Levy outers or the Enoch out sort of followers. Must say most of the feedback was positive about the article, but there was some sort of negative about that were a bit slanted and favouring Enoch out. I think Daniel Levy is operating in a different way. Would you not agree that signing these players, Bale, Reguilon, and even if you look at Højbjerg and Doherty, is a bit of a statement that we're going to sign players in positions we need, and it doesn't really, age is no longer a factor. So yes, we'd love to have them young, but if they're world class players, then we're going to go after other targets as well. Aviva, what do you think?
I mean, I think after seeing the All or Nothing documentary, I started thinking about, was it a case of when you have a coach like Jose Mourinho, if he tells you he wants a player, you go out and you get that player, versus when Poch asked for a player, it was more of a discussion and more of let me think about it, I'll see what I can do. But I wonder, because we could have signed. We definitely had money to do it before even the stadium. We had time to do it. We could have signed.
Chat to Steve Diver. He'll tell you that. He's got.
I'm saying we could have done all this earlier, but we didn't. And I wonder if the reason was because the manager wasn't the kind of person that was going to get that from Daniel Levy, or if Daniel Levy feels like he has to satisfy or not, do what he's told. And I think Jose has him in a vice, if you will. He has his balls in a vice. He has his balls in a vice. Because remember, Jose says this is not time to touch your balls.
Yeah.
He says.
Do you think that was aimed at Daniel Levy then?
Oh, for sure.
I get the feeling that when Daniel Levy thinks of Jose Mourinho, he is touching his balls. Let's be honest.
Well, you've seen the documentary, doesn't he? I think
fanboy.
he's a fanboy. He's absolutely a fanboy.
Do you think
It's
that
like
Poch
loving
was
his
the
eyes.
gateway drug to a manager of Jose's quality? Like, the plan was always to get Poch, and he did so well, and it wasn't expected. And then eventually, if Poch does go, if someone of an Ancelotti or Jose Mourinho or a Zidane is available, you go after them.
I think he got lucky. He said it himself in the documentary. He didn't think Poch was going to be as good as he is, and I don't think he thought Spurs would be where they are now. I think he expected to be spending money later on in the day where we had the stadium built and there was regular income. Obviously, you can't factor in a pandemic. But I also think on the pandemic, I think Spurs have operated very smartly. They've taken the free money from the government, or the very low interest money from the government, and I can guarantee you we are not a poor club. He can probably do some of these deals now that other clubs can't because of the way Spurs have been managed over the last decade, because we do run a very tight ship. I would imagine that we've got money in the bank, others haven't. You're right, Aviva. What's wrong?
Yeah, Arsenal has scored.
Don't worry about them. We're not going to talk about Arsenal. Not yet, anyway. Not on this pod. HG, I wonder what the caller is going to reload his glass because it's running low of gin and he needs gin to function. It's like sort of hemoglobin to me. So if you could just debate with it, what do you think about that point? Firstly, do you think that Daniel Levy, I suppose, he's operating in a different way, in a different transfer strategy, and why? And do you think we're going to see that continue? There's a good question just come in on the from Paulo Souza, which I'll add up on the screen now. Do you guys still think we will sign a striker as well as Bale? Maybe talk about that for a moment as well. So there's a lot of questions in there. So do your worst.
Just go and get your drink.
I'm going to get my gin. The questions are going to get longer when I've had a drink of gin. All right, we're back in a minute.
Just go and get a drink.
Just drinks water and says it's gin, okay?
Yeah, probably. So look, Paolo, to answer your question first, I do think we'll sign a striker. Look, I don't know if it's going to be a superstar, but I've said this before. I think that the window for loans is going to come pretty soon. Maybe Jedson will be sent back to Benfica so we have an extra spot. But I think that there are going to be teams that want to get rid of a few players that maybe we can do that. But if not, there are probably options closer to home, either in England. I mean, I know there are rumours that we're still after Ings. I struggle to see that myself, but I do think another striker is going to come, because I think that the biggest difference with Spurs, if you follow them for the last, certainly since Levy's been in charge, we spent a lot of time. I think his first, kind of 10 years or so was almost, well, the first few years at least was he wanted to try and find big names to kind of help the profile of the club. And when he realised that wasn't really working, he went for a period of buying young English players that hopefully could grow together. So people like Huddleston and Andy Reid and Anthony Gardner. I mean, some of them didn't work out, but he was trying to build, let's say, the quality of player at the club. And we got there towards when Redknapp was in charge. We started doing really well. Obviously, Ramos won the League Cup with us, and so the playing squad improved drastically, to the point where I feel that, like, even when Redknapp was in charge, we had a very, very good squad at that time, and probably a better squad than the one that Ferguson took to the title that season. So what we've seen since then is that maybe the level of squad hasn't been as good, if you take the 20 to 25 players, but the management under Pochettino was better. So we got ourselves to a higher level, because although our players weren't as good, the management was, and so now we've got the point where the level of quality in the players may have dropped a little bit because we didn't invest for a few seasons, but we've now got a manager who has proven to be one of the best. So hopefully, if we've got the level of player in the squad higher, with Mourinho in charge, we can put a run together and be there or thereabouts at the end of the season to get what we want, which may well be top four, may well be a trophy, but I think we're improving again, which is all we want to see.
I'm back, by the way. Was the conclusion that we will sign a striker as well as Bale?
Short answer. HG says yes.
What do you think, Aviva?
I think we will, and I had two names in my hat the last 5 years. First it was Carlos Bacca, but now he's 34, and I don't know if he's going to have any more time in him. But it used to be Carlos Bacca. Now it's Ashley Barnes. I think he's British. He was Austrian.
He is. He's Austrian. His mum's Austrian, so
They rejected his passport thing recently. Like no more. He's not. But yeah, he can score goals. He'll sit on the bench because he does it at Burnley anyway. And I don't think Burnley need him. They have Rodriguez, they have Wood, they have Virda. So I think he's surplus, and I think he's what we need. I don't want us to bring someone in from abroad. I think it takes too long for a player to acclimate to playing in England, and we want a striker who's just going to get stuck in right away. Yeah. We saw that with Soldado and Jensen.
Oh, Soldado. I loved Soldado. Was I the only one that loved Soldado? And I wanted him to be a success. I so wanted him. He scored.
But he wasn't.
He scored in his debut game, wasn't it? A penalty against Villa or someone.
Well done, a penalty. Oh, such a hard thing
I know, but I thought that would give his confidence the world of good. And then I saw him a couple of times at the Lane, and I just thought it was going to be a case of he is going to pick up a bit of confidence. But we just weren't giving the right ball into the box, in my opinion. But there you go. We're crying over spilt milk, really, I suppose. Strikers haven't been our forte. HG, who would you like to see us sign?
Who would I like?
Well, let's keep it real.
King.
Keeping it real. Bearing in mind, you've had some good stuff already. You've had Gareth Bale. You've had the best left back in Spain last season. We've had a decent DM and right full back. So let's, within the realms of possibility, who could we get?
Okay, I think it's possible that we go and get Luka Jovic. He didn't have a great first season at Real Madrid. It feels weird that we're buying all of their players.
That would be a bit weird, yeah.
He was a fantastic striker at Frankfurt. He and Rebic, along with the West Ham striker Sebastian Haller, were a great trident up top, and he's the best finisher I've seen. You put him in front of the goal, I expect him to score.
Yeah.
So if that deal was doable, and it would be an expensive one because he's on massive wages at Real Madrid, I think. But if we could get him permanently, which I think may well be possible, then let's do it, because I think Real Madrid, they're obviously trying to get wages off their books.
It's the wage bill, yeah.
Yeah, they let James Rodriguez go for nothing to Everton. They've let Bale come to us at a massive discount. So I think if it was doable, then I would. But I suspect for it to be doable, we may have to sell someone, and then I'm not so sure. But in a perfect world, I think he not only is he good enough to be, let's say, a replacement for Kane or a backup, but he's certainly good enough to play alongside Kane.
Yeah.
So he would be my number one choice, absolutely.
If you had to choose a domestic player to replace Kane, who would it be?
I think, he scored tonight. I think Michael Antonio at West Ham would be a fantastic option.
I agree.
Because he's just...
I don't think he'd leave West Ham because he's the top dog there.
He's also a different kind of player. He's a very sort of he's almost like a Adama Traore kind of.
Seasons ago.
Sorry?
No, he played right back a few seasons ago at some point. So, I don't want a striker who at one point played right back. Yes, Bale is different, but
Bale's a left back.
Bale's a left back. A winger, but I'm just saying, why would he want to go from being the top dog at a club to being just like another minnow?
Because it's West Ham.
Well, what do you sit on the bench?
The top dog at West Ham always gets bought by someone better.
That's right.
I don't think he will leave because I think he enjoys playing. I think he enjoys playing every week, and he is. You're right, the main man there. I don't think they have another striker that's going to take over. But if you're looking for someone domestic, I don't know why we need to be taking someone from a domestic side that isn't playing. Let's go for someone who plays every week. If we're going after Ings, why not go after Antonio? It's a similar situation.
Well, Ings would be a fantastic signing, I've got to say. And that's the one to me that I would love us to sign. I just can't see Southampton letting him go for anything less than a stupid amount of money, and I don't think we're into paying stupid sums of money right now. No. The person I was thinking was Diego Costa, who is the original bastard.
No.
There's a video called Diego Costa is a Bastard. I suggest you look it up on YouTube. It's just great. It's just all of his shithousery wrapped into 3 minutes, which clearly isn't long enough for all his shithousery, I must add. But I just think he knows how to win. He knows how to win. He knows how to score goals. He would be reasonably affordable, and I think happy to sit on the bench for a lot of the season as well. So I think he would be mine. But we do need for my two, Penrith. Although we've got Bale, I still think we do need a backup striker. So very long answer to your question there, Paolo Souza, but hope you enjoyed it. What I've got to bring up this comment on the screen. So I love this. So we were chatting about Lamella, and you will appreciate this comment, HG. It's like you wrote it and you've got an alias. So Gary B says, Lamella seems like a fan that has won a competition to win a contract at Spurs. He's running around like crazy, desperate to help out, but just not cut out for the Premier League.
That's right, Gary B. You are absolutely correct. Yeah, look, we all love his energy.
No, you don't. You don't love his energy and his time. You don't love anything. You do not love anything about him.
But the thing is, it's all about playing football. Like, energy is great, but like, I've got energy, you've got energy. My daughter has more energy than anyone. But the point is, she's not that good at football. So, like, I agree completely with Gary B. Lamella, great. You know, that one season, Pochettino's first season, when he played most of the games and was all right. I wanted him gone after that. I didn't think he was good enough. So, like, it's been 5 years.
I know what H stands for. It's not Harlow Globetrotter. It's the hatred Globetrotter.
I don't hate him. I don't hate him. He's just not good enough. As Gary B says, he is not cut out for the Premier League. Not just for Spurs, but for the entire league. Send him back to Roma. He can wear number 11. He can do whatever he wants. He's probably a hero. Like, I'm sure the Roma fans will treat him the way that we treat Bale. They'll be ecstatic that he's back. But no, for Spurs, I'm sorry.
Just want to point out that out of Spurs, Liverpool, Liverpool from Roma got Alisson and Salah.
Yeah.
From Roma, and we got Eric Lamella.
Well, that's all right.
And did we give them Fazio, or did we get him from
Fazio?
there?
Yeah, Fazio went them. So I'm just saying, I feel like our timing with Roma was ill-timed. I feel like we picked the wrong players from Roma.
Yeah, that's fair comment.
Especially for that, Salah versus Lamella. if that was swapped, Liverpool would be. Oh God!
I'll go to the next question. I've talked enough about Lamella, and I just can't. I can't make the case for him anymore when Gareth Bale's in the squad. Sorry, Eric. It's over.
Take a drink.
I will, and count to 10. So Zara Lewis has made a very nice question here. I like this kind of question. Jose, did you hear Brendan on the pod the other day lecturing me on how to say Jose?
Yeah.
Jose has made Jose. That's it. Yeah, Jose has made a point of saying the squad is too big. How many do you think he will ship? Who will want to ship out, or how many will he ship out? So I suppose they're two different questions. So give me your best, guys. HG, let's go to you first. How many will he ship out, and then stick some names to it?
I think maximum 4 or 5, maybe. I suspect that Carter Vickers will go. I think Foyt may well go. Sessegnon might go on loan. I think I've read somewhere else. So, I mean, maybe 5 is too many, but I can see certainly a few permanent signings going. Obviously, I see Lamella leaving, so I'll throw that one in there too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I think that we're all happy to be signing better players that improve the squad. But the squad is too big, so some will have to leave. I think the question is, will it be loans or will it be permanents? Because maybe some of them, it will only be a loan. And the thing is, even
Carter
with
Vickers can't go out on loan again, surely.
No,
making an offer for him.
Who are?
Bournemouth.
Oh, okay.
I think Bournemouth have had a decent relationship with us over the years. They've signed. I mean, Charlie Daniels is ex-Spurs and Adam Smith is ex-Spurs. So yeah, I think Carter Vickers will probably go permanently. I think he's proven himself in the Championship, and there are teams at that level that will want him. But with Foyth, I mean, he still needs games. That's the thing with him. So if he gets a Premier League loan, I'd be all right with that. Because I don't mind Juan Foyth. I really don't. I think he just needs a bit of seasoning. So a chance for him to get some game time on loan would be good. I know there are teams like Brighton who are looking for centre halves. So I don't know, but we'll certainly see a few leave. I just don't know if they're going to be permanent.
Yeah.
Aviva, let's have your names and how many?
Foyth, Carter Vickers, Sessegnon on loan, Lamella possibly. I guess maybe Gazaniga. I don't know what the logic is there because he wasn't on the bench last week. I don't know if he had said to Jose that he wants more game time. He's young enough that he should be playing more. He shouldn't be his career shouldn't just be as the number 2 goalie. And I'm sure there's clubs who want him. So maybe that's why we brought in Hart, because Hart will sit on the bench and that will be it. So maybe like let's say 4 or 5.
I mean,
I
neither
don't
of
get
you
what
have
is
said
for now?
Danny Rose, have you?
It's
Danny
true.
I mean,
Danny
he's
Rose will go.
still,
Yeah,
Danny
Danny
Rose.
Rose will go.
still on the bench.
I was
When
thinking
I hear
more that
Danny
Aurier-
Rose, this is the sound I hear. Because he's a clown. Yeah,
No,
an absolute
no.
clown. And although he's done some service for
I
the club,
respect Danny Rose.
I'm with the
Big
wrong
fan.
two people here, aren't I? I need to be on this with who's got hatred for Danny Rose?
Seb.
Oh, Seb. Yes, Seb hates Danny Rose as much as I do. Probably, maybe even a
I only
little bit
hated him when he dyed his hair red.
more. I know. Yeah, well.
I think he lost some respect. You don't play at Spurs. You dye your hair any other color, but not that color.
I mean, he never had that much respect in the first place, to be honest. But
Oh no.
no.
I just think like look, with Danny Rose, we all know the things that he said that probably aren't the smartest things to have said. I mean, I was angry at him when he made that interview with The Sun. I think we all were. But I look at someone who just wants to play and do well, and he wants standards to be, maybe higher, and he just goes about it the wrong way. I think that, granted, look, he did want that big money move that he may not get anymore.
I mean, that's the thing.
But
that documentary was just beautiful, and sad, to be honest, at the same time. When he came on saying of have Milan been on the phone? I'm like it's just.
He's a bit childlike, but then so is Dele Alli when it comes to the documentary. So look, I think he needs to go. Obviously, Jose is not giving him a squad number. He's not going to play for us. I think that's clear. But I don't know. I don't know where he will go. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him prove himself again and maybe get a nice big contract, because look, obviously he's not short of money, but he's kind with the money he has. I mean, he obviously donates to the local hospital in Spurs and. So I don't know. I don't have any hatred for him. I just think that he goes about things the wrong way, and it's bit him in the butt. And I feel like that's what we've seen a lot with a lot of the Spurs players. Or we seem to find foreigners that are more eloquent in English than our English players are, and they just know how to say things.
Yeah.
And Danny Rose obviously may not be the smartest footballer. He's been at Spurs since he was 17. The education may not be as strong as some of the foreigners, and it's sad because as a footballer, I've never had a problem with him. I will say that. I don't think he's a bad left back at all, and I think he's still level. So I'd like to see him stay.
I don't think he's a bad left back. I just think he's a complete arsehole.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just it. Like, I mean, if you want to sign Diego Costa, then that's clearly not a problem for you, is it? So
it's the type of arsehole. It'd be a very short-term arsehole. We've been stuck with Danny Rose for years.
Thing just came out.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah. Tell us, Aviva.
They're now saying that that Jose wants Jesse Lingard.
Why? So he can play FIFA with Dele Alli in the changing room. Who would he be backup for?
Man United are valuing him at 30 million.
I mean,
and
if Lamella's 19, then he might be 30.
Keen to be united with him.
Well,
Do you remember? It's only been 2 years since Jesse Lingard was starting games at the World Cup for England.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sad in itself.
No, I'm going to say this. I think Jesse Lingard has got talent. He's a talented player.
27 now, I think.
Is he really 27?
Yeah, he's old. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't realise that. I thought he was about 23, 24.
He's my age.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still a little bit of immaturity still in there then, yeah?
Yeah, it wouldn't be my choice. I mean, Jose obviously knows him better than I do, but
would he be a creative attacking midfielder?
No. He's a winks, but he plays further forward. But that's basically him. He'll link everything together.
God, can you imagine the midfield with Winks and Lingard in?
No.
What was his thing that he did?
I don't know.
What was it? Can you do the Bergwijn thing just out of interest?
You've got two old men here, Aviva.
Don't say that. I am not old.
Well, you just look.
I just look it. Yeah.
Oh, this is just. I think.
But the difference is, I've looked the same age for the last 10 years. So this was me at 28, and it's the same at 38, and I can't help it. I've got grey hair. I'm slightly chubby, less chubby than I was.
Nothing wrong with grey hair, mate. Nothing wrong with it.
Makes you look old, HG. That's what's wrong with it. But
Well.
this is it. So a couple more comments are coming on YouTube, which I think we should address. So Phil Ambrose says, I hope we keep Sessegnon. If we move to a more traditional left back or left wing back now, we have Reguilon. I think he could kick on by coming in for Reguilon when he's rested or injured. So playing Sessegnon on a sort of in a 5 in midfield, wing back, probably his best position, isn't it?
That I could see. Like, I don't see it as a fullback. I think he's either a wing back or a left winger. I've said before on various pods, he's a left winger without a trick, but the pace that he has enables him to be a threat. So I don't really know where he fits in modern football. I think in old football he'd be a left midfielder in a 4-4-2. Someone who you could trust to get in a decent cross, who would always be in that place at the back post if things were coming in. But Sessegnon, I don't know whether it's a confidence issue. I feel like very quickly he got to the Championship with Fulham and was dominating, and because he hasn't felt that at the Premier League level either with us or them, he's kind of struggling. So yeah, I think there's minutes for him, but I don't really know where they are going to be, especially if we do keep the attacking midfielders that we've got.
Yeah.
I mean, Bergwijn can play on the left, Son can play on the left. Where does Sessegnon get those minutes? It's a tough one for him.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Aviva, your thoughts on Sessegnon?
Yes, he was doing well in the Championship, but that was the Championship. And it's two very different, one is the Championship where there's Brentford and there's, fucking other teams, not Forest and all that. And then the other one is Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea and Spurs. So I don't know if I agree with equating like how he was doing so well in the Championship. Why is he not performing in the Premier League? I think if you're good, then it's not a given that you're going to continue that form against better, higher quality defenses. I think if he is going to get minutes, it's going to be in cup games as long as we can stay in cup competitions. I think he'll be a bench player. Maybe if Davies or Reguilon is injured or whatever, he can certainly fill in for them. But I don't see him as a starter.
No.
At least in league games.
Well, the thing is, we've got so many cup games, haven't we? We've got potentially so many cup games this season that
as long as we win them, I mean that's the point, isn't it? Like, he'll almost certainly start against Orient, I would think, because that's the chance for him, and obviously he should do well in that.
Chelsea again, fuck. If we beat Orient, we might. It's either Burnley or Chelsea, and I bet you anything it's going to be Burnley. No, Barnsley or Chelsea.
Barnsley.
And it's you just know it's going to be Chelsea because that's how it works.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd like to think it probably will.
The Barnsley. I mean, let's be fair. That's probably why it'll be them.
She's like, oh fucking damn it! God damn you, Chelsea, for being good.
No, but I'm just saying it's like it's such a spur. Like there's a word in Hebrew called dafka, and there's no direct translation. It's like, of course this would happen to us. Like dafka, of course we're going to meet Chelsea in like the 4th round, and like we couldn't just wait till like the final season. It has to be this early on. Like that's just.
I mean, I don't know. Look, it's a home tie, but I don't know how important Chelsea will see the competition. Obviously, we should hopefully have a much bigger game a couple of days later for us with the Europa League playoff if we get that far. But yeah, like we have lots of players that need minutes. I mean, Skip's gone on loan, Parrott's gone on loan. Sessegnon may well be in that category. He's only a few months older than Skip.
Yeah.
So although he's played Championship football regularly, he hasn't played Premier League football regularly, and that's maybe the loan we should be looking at if he goes out. But I suspect a couple of our loans, if they do leave, will leave in that week between the Europa League playoff and the end of the window, because that's when we'll kind of know what's ahead of us. If we do have lots of games, then we'll keep him around for sure. But if we're out of 2 cup competitions by that point, then he'll go, I think, almost certainly.
Shout out Ross Jeffrey, thanks very much for your question. His question has to be 3-5-2 surely now, which we've kind of answered really, haven't we? I think we'd like it as an option, would be sort of the cut and thrust of it. I think vary from 4-4-2, 3-5-2, etc., etc. I think.
I think 3-4-3 is probably the most likely.
It's what he's played a lot of his career, isn't it? As well, Jose.
Who?
Jose. Yeah.
Just, I feel like he's always been a four at the back person. He may have changed with us because he does like to attack with only three defenders, but I feel like most of his career has been very much a flat back four and kind of let the midfield and attackers show their individual quality. I mean, he's not known for making fantastic football at any level. I think that the first year Chelsea won the title, they were winning games 3 or 4-1, and that was with Arjen Robben and Damien Duff as the wingers. So it is doable, but I think he's much more about a solid foundation and almost overwhelming teams.
Well, there was a very good quote in the documentary which I thought I pulled out, which just says Jose all over, where he's like, you can't lose a game when you don't concede goals. That is the absolute first priority. Do not concede a fucking goal.
And we still don't have a defensive right back. I mean, that's the thing. So to play a flat back four, we might struggle. Aurier's not particularly defensive. To me, Tanganga should be a centre half. I don't want him anywhere near the fullback position. He can do a job, but with the squad we have, we don't need to have players doing a job. We can have players playing in their best position. Tanganga, to me, is a centre back first and foremost, and we should be trying to get him minutes there. We have lots of other options right now, but if Carter Vickers and Foyt leave, then there's a chance for Tanganga. But it's possible, but I just think that you get the players playing in a position they know best, and you work from there. We don't need it to be like England from 15 years ago with Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes, but with our centre halves. There's no need for that.
What's Alan Hutton up to these days?
Oh God,
I think he's
Scottish
retired.
Cafu.
Let's bring back Adam Smith.
Let's not. Oh my God. Couple of questions coming in. Jason Lyle. How do we feel about tomorrow's game? We desperately need a win, considering the schedule coming up in the next few weeks. I agree with that, especially if we progress in the Carabao and Europa League. So, how do you feel about tomorrow's game, HG?
It's a big game for both teams because Southampton lost their first game too. I hope that we've seen enough in our first two games to realise that Dombele needs to start. Obviously, Lo Celso started in Bulgaria.
He'll start definitely.
If we're a bit more progressive in midfield, then I can see us winning. But I think that I don't know if Mourinho is progressive enough to do that. So Winks might start with Højbjerg. I don't know, but I'd like to see us. I'd like to see us try and score. It sounds awful, but I feel like we're very concerned about making sure we keep a clean sheet, and I don't think we need to be doing that. We did that against Everton, it didn't work. We did that against Plovdiv, and it didn't work. So let's try and outscore our opposition for the change. So I hope we can do it, but a lot of it does depend on the team selection.
Yeah, Aviva, how are you feeling?
I agree that Ndombele needs to start. I don't want to see Winks start
ever.
Or Sissoko.
I don't want to see Winks ever. That's what I would say.
I was on the with I think it was with Franco. We were on the We Are Tottenham TV post game interview thing, and I said this about Sissoko and Winks. I like their stories, their storylines. Like Winksy is a Tottenham boy, came through the academy, Tottenham through and through. And Sissoko was shit and then got better. Everyone loves him.
Was shit. He's still shit. I mean, one of his touches in that last game.
Shit, then he got better, then he shit. I'm just saying, you can get emotionally invested in those storylines, but at the end of the day, they're just average players.
Bang average.
Winksy is, I appreciate his loyalty to the club and his he's Tottenham boy and whatever. But if we want to be pushing for Champions League and do well in Champions League again consistently, we need central midfielders who are not just average. We need players who would only make it into top 4 club teams. And I feel like Sissoko's getting old. Winksy is not Dembele. He cannot turn like Dembele. No one can turn like Dembele. I think it's getting close for time for both of them to move on, unfortunately. And I hate to say that about Winksy, but I'm just... taking apart the whole emotional component of
I
it.
just don't see Winksy moving on. I think he'll stay there for years, and I've got no problem with that actually. My problem with Harry Winks is treating him as a first team regular. He is a squad player for me through and through. He does nothing really well, but does everything okay.
I mean, we have to be.
Musa Dembele. We have never replaced Musa Dembele until Højbjerg can prove himself. We've never replaced Dembele.
I don't think you really can. I mean, there hasn't been a footballer before Dembele that could do what he did, and I'm not sure I know one in world football.
And hang on
now.
a minute. Hang on a minute. We're talking about Dembele, the man who spins in the pitch like several million times that Harry Winks tries to do. Look, he was a good player for a season. No,
much longer than that.
No,
he was injured most of it.
You were drunk too long.
I was not drunk too long. This is lovely.
Yes.
Can I just say, by the way, you didn't even ask what gin I went and picked up at the bar.
How's the water? Oh, and how's the water?
This is this is gin. This is Whitley Neal.
Yeah, you're clearly drunk if you think had one good season.
You're clearly drunk and maybe.
All right, maybe
stuff.
He had two, but he was injured a hell of a lot.
Not even
No, he was.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to football for a second, I just like. Dombele is the closest thing we have to Dembele. He doesn't have the size that Dembele had, but he has the skill. He has the ability to beat persons with or without the ball. Like he's got the brains to do it. So he is probably the closest thing we're gonna get. I mean, I think that's why Pochettino wanted him so much. But like we can't try and recreate that team that we had 3 years ago. You've got to pick. We've got to find a team that works. If we're just going to try and find a team that's exactly the same as that, then we'll get found out very quickly. We've got to evolve, and I think that with Dombele, like if we play three in midfield and you have Dombele and Lo Celso given license to go forward with Højbjerg sitting, that works just as well as having Wanyama and Dembele sit and having Dele and Eriksen able to go wherever they want. It's all about finding that balance, and I think that's where we've struggled. If we can get Dombele playing well, that balance will look much better. And Winks will go back to what he was before Dembele left, which was a squad player. I mean, Winks and Sissoko came in and basically became the midfield that got us to the Champions League final. But before that season, they were both squad players, and rightly so. So I don't think that either should be lambasted for it. It's just, for whatever reason, Pochettino decided he wanted to give those players a chance, and maybe they didn't take it to the level that we wanted.
What I realise at times like this is how bad I am at facilitating conversation, because the question was how do we feel about tomorrow's game, and we've ended up going back to talking about Dembele.
Hope we win.
Dembele. So let's bloody hope we win tomorrow is the honest answer, Jason. So thanks very much for your question. It's appreciated. Ross Jeffrey, Jose's traditional tactics will not work with our new squad. He needs to change formation for the first time in the last 5 years. Plus, we no longer need any forward players. Our midfield is poor. I think we all pretty much agree with that. We've got good forwards, but our midfield needs some work, and our defence needs.
I think we might need a kind of some more bite in midfield, but I think otherwise we're pretty set in midfield too. To me, it's the centre half situation that I don't feel like we're really set. We're still trying to figure out what the best partnership will be, what the best. Who works the most? Like that's just my opinion.
Okay, and Bobby Richards on Facebook has asked. Thanks for watching again, Bobby. Hey guys, just catching up with the stream. If I had to put a gun to your head, trust me, I'd like to do that to HD many times. And say
you can't reach as high.
I can't. I haven't got a gun long enough to reach Austria. And say you can have one of the following. What would you guys go for? A centre back, or a striker, or a creative midfielder? What's the most important position to fill in the transfer window? So Aviva, I'm going to come to you first. Would you buy? It's like snog, marry, or divorce, isn't it? Would you buy a centre back, a striker, or a creative midfielder? Go.
Creative midfielder.
Okay, why?
Because if we talked about this earlier, if you're not going down the wings and you need to play through the middle, and your midfield is not equipped to do it, then you need someone to get the ball up to the front three or whatever you're playing with, and you need a creative midfielder to do that. If Sasso gets injured, then we have nothing. Ali maybe.
Well, you got Ndebele. You got Ndebele.
Not Ndebele, but I think like if we got a really good that's why we wanted Paulo Dybala, but we're not going to get him. But if we had him, you would take him.
Oh yeah, well I think most teams in the world would take him. I mean, if Eriksen had signed a new deal, we'd have one. Yeah. For me, that's
creative midfielder.
Although then we'd still be getting wound up by his crosses and corners, wouldn't we? So that's.
People go on about how Dele has dropped off a cliff. He hasn't really. We've had to change systems for various reasons, and he and Eriksen weren't able to do the damage that they did before, where they were kind of had more freedom to attack.
Yeah.
Dele without that creative player will always look bad because he's the second striker. He's not the person to really be the creative one. He's the one who gets on the end of the creation. It's really difficult because we need all three for various reasons. I suspect if I was going to go, I probably would have to agree with Aviva, like someone who was able to create, just a decent passer, someone with a bit of guile. Like, I mean, it sounds awful. I'd probably even go. I'd have someone like Juan Mata just on loan. That would work because he's not going to play for Man United, not with Bruno there, and he's old enough and experienced enough to know what to do and when. It's not a long-term solution by any means, but someone like that. We see what James has done for Everton. He's given them that something in midfield that they haven't had before. So that's probably it. I mean, we all know we need a striker, but one of the three, probably that passer, someone with a bit of guile.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I like that. I've got another question here from Jason. Do you think there is any truth? Oh, it's an interesting question, actually. I sound surprised. Don't take that offensively, Jason. I always sound surprised when I hear questions. Do you think there is any truth in the Jose Dele Alli bust-up rumours? Jose seemed to have a bit of a love-in with Dele and all or nothing. I don't think he would give up on him this quickly. Well, it was obviously rumoured that Dele move was potentially in on the deal to go to Real Madrid. Or maybe Dele just fancied Real Madrid and started spreading that rumour. I don't know. What do you think? Have they had a bust-up, or is there still a bit of a love-in? HG?
I think they've probably had a bit of a bust-up, if I'm honest. I have a feeling that Dele is the type of character that Danny Rose is and probably said something that he shouldn't have done. I hope that they can patch things up and make things work because I don't want him to go. I think someone who can score the goals that he can, you want in your squad. But yeah, like 45 minutes in the first game, didn't travel to Bulgaria. There are rumours that he's not gone to Southampton.
Are there? I didn't know that.
I did read that somewhere. I don't know how truthful that is, but I did read that he hasn't travelled again. If that's the case, then I think something has to have happened. But I hope that they can just patch things up because like Dele is the perfect Mourinho player. Like he's got that about him. He wants to win. He will do anything he can to win. It's just a question of where does he play? I mean, I would start him tomorrow if I was picking the team. Yeah. Dele would be in my team tomorrow. So
where does he fit? Where does he fit with Gareth Bale coming into the side? And I know it doesn't directly impact, but it does a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I don't. It's not again. It's not like it was before when we had four attackers, maybe taking 3 or 4 spots. Like now we can be a bit more choosy and pick a player based on whatever we want to pick them on. Maybe Bale and Dele wouldn't be in the same team very often, but quality players like that you want to have. Like we can sit here and complain that we've only got one major striker, but if we've got 4 or 5 decent attacking midfielders that we trust, that's just the same as what we had under Pochettino when Kane was the main man and we had no one else then. So I don't know, but I do suspect that there's possibly something's gone on and that Dele's not happy with the way that Mourinho sets up his team and has said something too much.
Well, I mean, in the there was an interesting telling scene for me in All or Nothing where they're in the change room. This isn't a spoiler, I don't think really, but Dyer sort of digs him out, doesn't he? You're always slowing your water ball down and like a big kid. And I just think how long could that go on for, Dele's behaviour? Because he does do that all the time. I mean, I've been sat in games in the stadium, wasn't captured by the cameras and all or nothing, but several times he's come off and smashed his water bottle down, or looked grumpy, or sat and stuck his top over his head or whatever. It's not really the attitude you want when you're a manager. You want someone to sort of come off the pitch, jog off the pitch at pace when you're losing a game, tag your teammate in, go, good luck, mate. Thanks to the gaffer. I'm going to go sit down. I'm going to try hard in training. You don't get that from Dele, do you? He's like a bit of a sulky teenager, but he's not a teenager anymore. Aviva, what do you think?
I think he's still learning. I think, look, he's been here under, Poch brought him in, and Poch was all that he knew. And now there's this new guy, and he's just got to adapt. I mean, I think about what was when Jose called him out in the team meeting, and he said, everyone knows that you're lazy in training.
You're a fucking lazy trader. Fucking lazy trader.
Great impression.
Thank you.
I mean, I'd like to think they have a joke
Borat,
kind of relationship. I don't know. I think it's still early days because we haven't seen a full season yet of him playing under Jose. Ask me again at the end of the season.
Well, he might not even be here by in a couple
Still,
of weeks' time by the look of it. Ask me at the end of the season. Yeah, he fell out 6 months ago. Yep, absolutely. So, have you both finished All or Nothing?
Yes.
What was your highlight? Because I know HG, there was this bit where you said, "Oh my effing god" or something on the chat. Episode 9.
Yeah.
And I did not know what you meant.
Were you talking about the Dele Dyer dressing room bust? No.
What were you talking about?
The major thing for me, the biggest shock out of any of it, was what a snivelling little idiot Daniel Levy is.
Which bit was this?
It was the interview with Dombele. Like, what on earth is the chairman doing, having these conversations with a player?
I think he's hands-on like that. I think he is.
But he shouldn't be. Like,
Who says? He pays the wages.
Look, the point is that, right, I work with kids, right? So does Aviva, right? But I work with kids that are trying to figure out their way in life, trying to find out what they like, what they don't like, who they are, right? And
so how many times have you gone full David Brent on them?
If I talk to a 14-year-old and start telling them what it was like when I was 14 back in 1990, whatever it was, the world has changed. So the idea that Daniel Levy can talk to a 23-year-old Frenchman and say, well, when I was 16 in 1970, whatever it was, I know, I had to, put my head down on work. Like, I'm sorry, like if I was Don Belly, I'd be thinking, who the fuck are you to tell me this?
I agree with that.
I understand that he's the boss, he's the one paying the wages, but it's got nothing to do with Levy. Levy seems to hang out at the training ground because that's where the cool kids are.
Well, his office is there, isn't it?
No, he can have an office wherever he wants. He can have an office at the stadium. He can have an office at home. But I think he wants to hang out with the players. I think it makes him feel cool, and I don't understand that.
He's a nerd. I feel like Daniel Levy grew up and he was like the nerd reject in school, always wanting to like hang out with the jocks and the football players and the rugby players.
What is a jock?
A jock in America is like the athletes who are popular, who are like.
This is like a jock strap over here, isn't it?
It comes from the word, jock strap. But jocks are like the ones in America. They have something called Letterman jackets. They're like these club jackets, and they're like the school athletes who are like admired and who were like handsome and popular and have all the
I was like one of them.
Daniel Levy was like the opposite of that and always aspired to be one of them. So now he pays them to be there. So he's like, I'm one of you guys. Like let's have a meal together.
You're a jock.
I think all of us, whoever's listening, is the same. I think all of us knew kids like Daniel Levy at school. Mm-hmm. I was just surprised to find out that at almost 60 that he's still like that.
Is he really that old?
He's a successful businessman. Yeah, I think he's almost 60. Like, he's a successful businessman in his own right. He's got millions, hundreds of millions to his name. Why does it matter to him that he has lunch with the players on a random Wednesday? That I don't get. Like, I realise that he's probably not always there, but to want to be involved to that level, it's none of his business. I don't understand it. Like, the idea that...
But do you not think that's the case in most football clubs, that the chairman is that hands-on?
He's 58, by the way.
No, I don't like. Maybe it is, but I would be amazed. I would absolutely be amazed that someone like again who has no idea what it's like to be a sportsman, let alone an elite sportsman.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the mindset, and I think Dombele said it best himself that when Dombele kind of got annoyed and said, "Well, I am a fighter." You have to remember what 3 or 4 seasons ago, Dombele was playing 5th division football in France. So he's gone from pretty much nothing to earning 200 grand a week at one of the top 10 teams in the world. Like, he knows what it takes to do that, and I think that for Daniel Levy to assume that he didn't, and that now that he's spoken to Daniel Levy, he's going to understand what it takes to be a success. Like, I'm sorry, Dombele is already a success by whatever measure you choose to use.
Maybe we should have the most cringy Levy moment on the pod. Cringy Levy moment of the week.
There were a few.
My favourite was when he has the FaceTime conversation with Mourinho, where he's just signing. Who's he signing at the time? Who did we just sign? Bergwijn.
Bergwijn.
So Bergwijn sat there with all his family, and he goes, "You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Yeah. Better not disappoint him." It's like what? He's like, "Better not disappoint him," And I'm thinking,
do
you know what? That was my first thought. I'll come here and I'll disappoint him. Yeah, because that'd be really good for my career. You fucking clown.
Daniel Levy is like the teacher's pet to Jose Mourinho in that situation, right? He's like, I'm the boss's second-hand man. Like, I'll tell you what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, no, you won't. It's none of your business. Granted, if you have the level of power that Levy does, right? It's his club. He runs it. He doesn't own the whole thing, but he does run.
He may
the
as well
whole thing.
do for the purposes of that. Yeah.
So I understand it, but mate, if you delegate everything else, we've got a guy for this. We've brought in Trevor Birch to do whatever he's doing. He delegates really well, but it's almost like his pet project is the stadium, and now that's done, he's going to hang out with the players. I couldn't believe that A, I was watching it, and B, that if Levy had any control over how it came across, that he allowed it to go out because he looked so pathetic. I couldn't believe it.
Can you believe?
Milk toast.
Can you imagine being a contractor on that site with Daniel Levy working above you? Like, literally, it would be like, have you seen that episode of Alan Partridge where he's living in this caravan while they're building his house? And he goes in.
If you're bringing up Alan Partridge, that says enough about Daniel Levy.
Have you seen?
If there's any similarity there,
I've got to share the clip of the episode and put if you recognise Daniel or something, because he's building this house. He goes in the caravan. He goes in the house to review the work the builders are doing, and he's like, "I don't like that skirting board there. It's a bit. It's just about a millimetre too high." and the builder just goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake," rips it off and tears it out. It's quite funny. Obviously undersold by me. But honestly, watch the clip and you can just imagine Daniel Levy being a complete prick about everything in the stadium.
He's a detail person. He's not a people person.
No.
I think that's fine. You can be a detail person. But yeah, I was really surprised. Like, I'd imagined Daniel Levy to be different to how he came across. I found it shocking.
So time's getting on. I appreciate you both very much coming on the show tonight. I'm going to ask you one final question each. You may need a pen and paper for this, although Aviva, you might want to do your little quiz thing at the end. I'm not sure if you do or not. So Tom Crocombe, very sorry if I've said your name wrong. Is it Crocombe? Tom Crocombe. Hey lads, what do you reckon? Who do you reckon starts tomorrow against Southampton, and how many trophies this season are we going to win? Come on, you Spurs. So, whichever one of you wants to go first with the lineup.
Go for it, Aviva.
Davies, Toby, Dyer, Aurier, Lloris, Undembele, Højbjerg, Sissoko, Lucas, Son, and Kane. Oh no, take out Sissoko, put in Lo Celso. I'm sorry. 4-2-3-1. Højbjerg and Undembele, Lo Celso, Son, Kane, Lucas.
Okay.
Actually, no, Son, Kane, Bergwijn. Excuse me.
I was going to say, that is 11 players I think you've named now. It was 10 before. It's hard, that's why I said get a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have pen and paper, but I think it will be, let's say, a 4-2-3-1. So, obviously Hugo in goal. I'd have Doherty at right back. Davies.
Oh yeah, why did I say Aurier? Fuck.
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe you
I'm
want to
sorry,
concede
Doherty,
goals.
yeah.
So yeah,
You shouldn't have asked me first.
I didn't.
So yeah,
HG nominated you. He took the advantage.
So yeah, Hugo in goal. Davies, I think Dyer will play. Toby and Doherty at the back. I think Højbjerg will start. I hope Dombele starts. So I'm going to say him. Lo Celso will start. So I think that will be the three in midfield, and then the three up top. It will be Kane plus Son plus. I would like it to be Bergwijn, but I think it will be Lucas.
It's always Lucas.
So that will be my three: Son on the left, Lucas on the right, and then Kane up top. Like, as I said, like I would pick Delhi, but I don't think he'll be in it. So it'll be Lucas, Son, and Kane up top.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Right, guys. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure for you to join us on this momentous day that will go down in history forever, as the day we re-signed Gareth Bale. And also signed some bloke we've never heard of who plays left back. I'm actually hoping that he gets in the side tomorrow and we don't have to tolerate another Davis masterclass at left back, to be honest. But whether he's registered or not in time is another question entirely. If they hadn't been pissing around with the announcement for the last 24 hours, then maybe he would. So thanks very much, HG.
No problem. Thanks again, caller. Thanks again, Aviva.
Thanks very much, Aviva.
Thanks, caller. Thanks, HG.
We'll see you again soon. All right. Thanks very much, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks for watching, everyone.